Hey everyone, it's Zack Beck. Dogecoin has been in the news a lot lately. You might have read headlines of people becoming millionaires, buying homes, paying off student loans, or changing their lives simply by investing in this cryptocurrency. You might have seen that it started being worth less than a penny at the beginning of the year, and now it's shot up over 70 cents. Obviously it's volatile, but there's a lot going on here. And you might be sitting back and asking yourself, how do I invest in Dogecoin, and should I invest in Dogecoin? And what I want to do in this video is break down 5 important things that you need to be aware of if you're considering putting money into this cryptocurrency, as well as the inherent risks associated with any of this type of meme stock investing and how it could affect you in either a positive or negative way moving forward from here. So let's take our time, dive into the details, and jump into it right now. As previously mentioned, Dogecoin has been on a rocket ship lately. That is thanks in large part to Elon Musk. He tweeted about this months ago and even just hosted SNL where he did a skit specifically about Dogecoin. And what has happened is that people follow his words, they follow his advice, it gets picked up on places like Reddit, on Wall Street Bets and other areas, and when he tweets it, people respond. But what we found happened is he actually, when hosting SNL, started talking about Dogecoin, the opposite happened and Dogecoin started to plummet. And that is part of the reason why that people had built up this level of expectation that if he said something positive about it, that it would then shoot to the moon, and actually the opposite has happened so far. We've seen similar stories repeat themselves time and time again, whether it was when GameStop was going up to the moon and then it began crashing down once everyone started talking about it, or recently with the Coinbase IPO where they actually were listed on the NASDAQ exchange, and when they were listed there, everyone expected it was going to shoot up in value, significant in price, and the opposite happened, it started to crash. So these are just some telltale signs of what could happen with Dogecoin moving forward from here, or any other future investment that is more speculative in nature and not really tied to the intrinsic value of the thing you're trying to invest in. So what I want to do right now is break down in detail the 5 different things that you should be aware of if you're actually considering investing into Dogecoin. And here's the first one you want to check out. Dogecoin is unlimited, and what I mean by that is the supply of Dogecoin is unlimited. Unlike other cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin or others that actually burn a certain amount of their cryptocurrency as it goes on, with Bitcoin you only have 21 million Bitcoins that's ever going to be created. So there's a limited supply, which hopefully keeps the value a little higher over time. Dogecoin, on the other hand, has an unlimited supply. They will keep developing Dogecoin and producing it on an ongoing basis. That's where people maybe compare it to like a fiat currency such as the United States, where they just print it and it's not tied directly to like a gold standard or anything to that extent. So what you're gonna find is the unlimited supply does prevent it from actually having a long-term value because it's always gonna be so plentiful. The second thing that we should be aware of is that Dogecoin doesn't have any utility. And I know this is a common argument associated with cryptocurrencies, but in effect, Dogecoin is relatively useless right now in the real economy. Yes, you might be hearing of like the Mavericks or other entities that might be accepting Dogecoin for certain merchandise and things along those lines. Generally speaking, I would say that's more attributed towards the media attention it's gathering right now. Once it starts losing any sort of value over time, it probably will not be able to be accepted more regularly. You shouldn't be able to expect to go and buy your groceries with Dogecoin or go buy a new car with Dogecoin. You know, Elon Musk did not say anything about buying a Tesla with Dogecoin. So these are just certain things you want to be aware of. And because it doesn't have any sort of utility and it really isn't useful in the economy, you have to ask yourself, well, if this is technically a cryptocurrency, what is it actually a currency for? It's not necessarily investment like when you purchase a stock. You're investing and speculating on the value of a currency that isn't readily used. But you might be saying, well, Zach, aren't most cryptocurrencies useless? Yeah, to an effect, a lot of them are right now, but a lot of entities that are larger in nature are starting to accept them, such as Bitcoin that can now be utilized on different platforms where you can purchase products with them. And Ethereum has smart contracts that are built in for a much more long-term transition that we're gonna have in our economy as a whole. Dogecoin could play a role in that, but there really isn't effectively any sort of utility with it. And a lot of the entities that have said they're going to accept Dogecoin for payments, like I said, whether it's the Oakland A's, whether it's Snickers, or whether it's these other people, that's not necessarily something that's for the long term. It's more a marketing ploy by them to garner attention based off of what's happening in the market with Dogecoin right now. Dogecoin has recently been listed on some large exchanges. Obviously, you can purchase it on Robinhood, now you can do so on Gemini, and that's really helping it get some greater exposure into the market as a whole, whereas other cryptocurrencies that are more in the infant stages, such as like OMI, are very difficult to get onto because you have to go on places like Bitforex or Uniswap or anything like that, where it's much more challenging to purchase it. Fortunately, Doge is relatively easily accessible to those in the market, but the one thing you have to be aware of is that it might be difficult to actually sell it and recoup any of the benefits from it. If you remember what happened during the GameStop saga, Robinhood crashed repeatedly and really prevented people from doing what they needed to do with either purchasing or selling GameStop when it was in the midst of its highest peak. And we saw history repeat itself while Elon Musk was hosting SNL because Robinhood shut down again specifically for Dogecoin. So it's an inherent risk that you're taking that you might not be able to lock in the profits or stop the losses if you're trying to sell it at any point in time because you might have a difficulty with a platform that you're working with. So that's just something you really want to be mindful of because seriously, I want you to be able to make money from this if you're invested in Dogecoin. But at the same token, if you're hoping to go into it right now to make money, it's going to be very difficult and you have a lot of inherent risks that are involved with that, especially because of the volatility of the price associated with Dogecoin. It's not like selling a stock that might change 1 or 2% over the course of a day. We're talking like 10, 20, 30% changes in a matter of minutes or hours when it comes to Dogecoin. So you really want to be able to lock in whatever price you're selling it at as quickly as possible. Another important thing you need to be aware of if you want to invest into Dogecoin is bark at the like button for the YouTube algorithm. I'm just kidding, but if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button for the YouTube algorithm, that would help the channel out a lot and help push this video to other people who might need to hear it. An important issue that you and I need to be aware of is that there's someone out there who owns 28% of Dogecoin right now. That's a large person that we would consider a whale in investing terms, meaning if they move, then that's going to have a ripple effect in the market as a whole. That 28% right now equates $25 billion. And people are speculating whether this is an individual who might have this or if it's an entity such as Robinhood that might actually own this. But what that means is that if someone who has that much market share decides to sell everything, it will deplete the price and cause it to drop substantially. So that's something you need to be aware of when anytime you're investing. You want to be mindful of if there's someone out there whose personal decision can directly impact the price of an entity. And similarly, because Dogecoin is so impacted by what is happening on social media, be it Reddit, Twitter, or other locations, and what specific individuals have to say about it, such as Elon Musk or Mark Cuban, you have to ask yourself, is this actually an investment or is this more just an emotional thing that's going on in the market right now? And do you want to put your hard-earned money into it? And that's where I grow the most concern. I really want to do everything I can to help equip you to achieve your long-term financial goals. And I totally understand the appeal of wanting to invest into Dogecoin. It has a similar appeal of a penny stock, meaning that you see something that's very low in price. So if you put a lot of money into it, it has the potential to grow in significant value, which is something that it could actually happen to yourself, but it's not necessarily going to be a guarantee. And if you're putting your money just behind someone's tweet or behind someone's emotional appeal that they're making to you, or behind a community that's saying that you should invest in this because it's funny or because it's a meme, you can do that, but you do risk a lot when you do so as well. You might have heard of the Dogecoin millionaire. He actually went in, put $180,000 of money that he worked really hard to save, YOLO'd it all into Dogecoin, and it turned in almost $2.7 million. As of right now, it's not even clear if he has sold and actually taken that money out. I've heard numerous interviews that he's done over the last week or so, and he said that he's holding. And from that standpoint alone, I just want to encourage you, if you're listening, Dogecoin millionaire, I would recommend selling at least a part of that to lock in some of your profits and secure your financial future. Obviously, you don't want to have what they call paper hands. You want to have diamond hands, but that is something that people utilize more from a standpoint where they want to show their strength or demonstrate how cool they are to other people. But at the end of the day, you need to make a decision that is best for yourself. And if you or I were ever to find ourselves in a fortunate enough position by making a speculative bet to be able to gain that much money, that would be great. But at the same token, the overwhelming percentage of people do not have that luxury. We generally invest more for the long term in other areas that are going to provide us with the finances we need to have a secure future. So you can do this in a variety of ways. I personally like doing so into index funds, and I think that is probably your best bet to do so if you're wanting to have more of a passive approach. But if you're going to go through this process, invest in something like Dogecoin, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I just want to make sure that you're aware of all the elements associated with it so that you can achieve your goals. The fifth thing you want to be aware of when it comes to Dogecoin is that you can't really invest into Dogecoin. Dogecoin is not a stock that you're actually investing in where it has fundamentals and a company and a product behind it that you're investing into hoping that they will produce profits over time. It's actually a cryptocurrency, so you're speculating and you're buying Dogecoin. You're not investing into it. So you're buying it with the hope that the price will actually go up over time. And if you think about in theory doing something like that, that would be like going and investing into euros or investing into a different currency out in the market and saying that you're investing into it. And generally speaking, we don't invest into other currencies, we buy them or transact them so we can use them in the marketplace. So it's just something to be aware of. It's very similar if you were thinking like you were investing into a lottery ticket or investing into a roulette table or investing into a hand of blackjack or some sort of gambling or something to that extent. I'm not saying this is inherently wrong, but you just want to have that mental understanding that you're having a much more risky approach if you're putting money into something like Doge. And if you do so, it could stand to benefit you substantially, and I think that would be great, and I hope it does happen for you. But because we've already gone through the cycle where it's gone pretty much parabolic and reached a high price already, it's highly unlikely that we're gonna see this continue on. This already happened with GameStop. It went up and then it came crashing down, and now it's just kind of hovering at a lower price threshold, and we're probably gonna see something very similar happen here with Doge. I could be wrong, and I'll eat crow if that's the case, but I am just telling you as someone who wants you to make wise and well-informed decisions for your financial future, if you feel comfortable and you wanna put money into this, just know that even Elon Musk says you should invest with caution, and many people say that you should be prepared. Any sort of money you're putting into cryptocurrency, be prepared to lose it all. So if you're going to be willing to take that risk, without risk, no reward. So you're going to potentially receive a reward, but you also risk losing all your money. So if you're looking to have more of a structure in place for your life to be able to achieve your long-term financial goals, here's what I would personally recommend. First, do everything you can to cut spending in your life. Try and scale back on areas that you don't need to put money into. On that note, try and save money where you can. Review your subscriptions, review your spending habits, and see where is there areas in your life that you can save money so you have more to either pay down debt or invest. Furthermore, you want to avoid lifestyle inflation. That is where you and I do everything we can to try and look the same, buy the same, have the same nicest house, the nicest car, the nicest clothes as other people around us. And we don't necessarily want to adhere to that because then we just keep spending more and more of our money and we don't save enough that can actually be invested. Then you want to avoid debt. Avoiding debt is critical. Anything outside of your mortgage for a home, you really shouldn't have any consumer debt, no car payments, no financing of furniture, technology, or appliances or anything like that. Try and do everything you can to avoid that so you don't have a negative net worth. You can work on having a positive net worth. And then you want to do everything you can to invest strategically into areas that you understand. If you understand Dogecoin, great, but that to me would not be my only area of investing. As a matter of fact, with cryptocurrencies, I wouldn't do any more than 5% of my total net worth into crypto because of the inherent volatility and risk. But I like to do index fund investing, and specifically that is where you invest into a group of stocks that basically perform on a regular basis, anywhere between returning 7 to 10% on an annual basis, adjusted for inflation, and when you have your dividends reinvested. Obviously that's not as sexy, that's not 1,000% or 13,000%, but if you do that systematically over time, over the course of your life, you will become a millionaire by the time you reach retirement. Obviously, if you want to reach goals more quickly, you can adjust that, you can be more aggressive, you can invest in other areas such as individual stocks, you can speculate with Dogecoin and others, but just know if you have those other principles in place, that foundational set established, then you can pivot and move over to something a little more speculative and maybe you'll get it right. With all that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. If you wouldn't mind, please tap the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Help push this video to other people who might need to hear it. Furthermore, if you wouldn't mind, comment down below. I'd love to interact with you, get to know you, do any research on your behalf, and help you make well and wise informed decisions moving forward for your life. Furthermore, if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to myself personally, as I do everything I can to create positive content that has a positive impact in your life by encouraging you and myself to lead lives of meaning and purpose, all while maintaining balance and moderation. And if you do subscribe to the channel, please tap the notification bell. That will notify you every time I post a video, which I do on a weekly basis. Once again, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you next time. To the moon.